Mr. Cleese, in the brand new James Bond video game, you reprise your role as the ingenious engineer Q. Now, what was the process like bringing your character into a video game?
Well, it was an enormous help that I'd already played the character a couple of times, because when you're an actor, you get to know a character at a sort of deeper and deeper and deeper level the more often you play it. And the trouble with a movie very frequently is you're halfway through the movie before you really get who the character is, and you want to go back. We want to go back and shoot some of the earlier scenes, you know. But in this case, I'd played Q a couple of times. I had a pretty good feeling of what works for Q and what doesn't. And I was very much in the hands of the director, though, you see, because you don't really have storyboards. So what you don't know, you've got the lines in front of you, but what you don't know is how urgent is this situation? Is this a little more relaxed, so that Q might be kind of teasing Bond a little bit, or is this an occasion where Bond could get killed? In which case, you know, it's completely urgent and completely serious. So I'm in the hands of the director, but fortunately these guys, I mean, making one of these video games now is almost comparable to making a movie. I mean, people put years of their lives into it.
A lot of scanning, the whole process of mapping yourself onto the screen.
Yeah, that's right. And in this case, it was the video game is written by Bruce Fierstein, who is just terrific. And he wrote all the scenes that I had with Pierce Brosnan in the movie before last. I can never remember the names of these Bond movies because they're always called things like Tomorrow Is Not Enough or something. I don't know what they mean.
But you remember the Bond girls, though, don't you?
Sometimes, yes. even at my age, yes.
And, of course, they have all the great Q gadgets that the gadgets that Q creates for James are available in the game as well?
He's created a couple of special ones for this game. There's a thing called Q Rappel where a Bond can go up and down walls. And
no kidding.
Yeah, and there's a thing called a spider, which looks like a little spider, and it scuttles around. It's got a remote camera on it, so you can send it around the corner to show him what's going on around the corner.
Now, we can not only expect to find your voice, and we can not only expect to find your voice in the new video game, but we can also look for it in the upcoming sequel to Shrek. You're the voice of King Harold.
Well, Cardinal Richelieu died in 1642, as far as I remember. And the reason I say that to you is that the sound broke up and I couldn't hear your question.
Oh, gotcha. Now, I was talking about the upcoming sequel to Shrek. You're not only doing the voice work for...
Broke it up again. Try
audio's
again,
breaking up.
I mean, they can put a man on the moon, but they can't
no kidding. We can not only find your voice in this new James Bond video game, but we can also find it in the upcoming sequel to Shrek. You're the voice of King Harold.
That's right, Cameron Diaz's dad, and that was huge fun too. They're very similar, these kind of recordings, because you go in a sound studio and you are very, very dependent on what the director's telling you about the particular scene that's going on. In Shrek, you actually get a storyboard. So you can actually see here, the king comes in, he talks to the queen, you know, and then the daughter comes in, and then Shrek comes in. But in the video games, you're totally dependent on the director, because if you're making a movie, well, you've got the other actors there, and they've been in some of the scenes before you came on the movie, so you can pick up the tone of the movie from them. But in these, you're kind of flying blind, except for that wonderful director helping you to try and get it right.
Gotcha. John, we're just running out of time right now. I need to ask you one last question. Eric Idle, a good friend of yours, was just in town recently, and I happen to know you're a big fan of Vancouver. Can we expect you here anytime soon?
You know, I was very, very nearly up in Vancouver. I was offered a movie part up there, but the deal went wrong. I was very disappointed. So if anybody's got any employment plans for me that involve coming to Vancouver, I'll give you the number to call. It's 805.
You're a big fan of Vancouver, aren't you?
Yeah, I think it's one of the most beautiful cities in the world. Vancouver, San Francisco, and Sydney. Those are my three favorite cities.
Well, I'll tell you, we're a big fan of yours as well, Mr. Cleese.
Well, try and find an excuse for me to come up there, will you?
Hey, the invitation's open anytime. Thank you very much for chatting with us today.
Well, good, great pleasure.
Okay, thank you, John.
Bye.